Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for July the 6th, 2020. The road to what is now being called the horror show at Extreme Rules continues. We kicked off Monday Night Raw with the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. He talked about his upcoming match with Dolph Ziggler at the horror show. He said the stipulation that Ziggler will get to pick doesn't matter because Drew will still be the champion in the end. He said he wants to start Raw off with a bang. He wants to know what the stipulation is. This led to Dolph Ziggler coming out, and Ziggler said the stipulation, well, it's a secret. Shut up. Little Simpsons reference there from me. Ziggler started making fun of McIntyre for being fired, and McIntyre was like, yeah, he did get fired, but he came back. He beat Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes. Ziggler talked about all of the people that have stabbed or have been stabbed in the back by Drew McIntyre. And then Ziggler said he was going to bring out somebody. That person was Heath Slater. That's right, Heath Slater is back. TJS sent in a $2 super chat off topic, and new rule starting on this stream. I will address the off topic super chats at the end. So, gimmick over, TJS. Heath Slater came to the ring looking quite jacked. Looks like he's been hitting the gym hard. He had a free agent t-shirt on. He got in the ring and he cut one of the best, if not the best, promo of his career. He said that when Drew McIntyre won the WWE title at WrestleMania, he cried. He had joy in his heart. And when Drew McIntyre got released all those years ago, Heath said he called Drew every day. But where was Drew for Heath when Heath got fired from WWE? Heath said he's fighting now for his 2 girls. And when he made his last WWE appearance on the bump a couple months ago, he said that Drew had pitched the idea for them to have a match together. And then all of the talk about it stopped when Heath ended up on the unemployment line. Heath said this is his last opportunity. He shoved Drew. He slapped Drew. Drew responded by saying, the match is on. Like I said, maybe the best promo of Heath Slater's career. The only thing I did not like about this was Heath was talking about how Drew never contacted him after the release. Drew had no response for this. To me, this made Drew come off like a dick. Like, Drew should have at least gotten on the mic and said, you know damn well I did contact you, or something. He had no response. So, to me, as a viewer watching this, Drew McIntyre seems kind of like an asshole. Like, why not call up your friend? So, other than that, I thought this was a really strong segment to open up Monday Night Raw. Ked terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat says, if real fans were at attendance and saw a legit 3MB reunion, would it be odd since Jinder Mahal is in a feel-good moment? See you in Impact, Slater. That would be kind of weird because Jinder Mahal, last time we saw him, was a heel, although it looked like maybe he was going in the direction of a face turn. But I think some fans would like it, at least fans that cared enough about the gimmick. I'm not sure if that is a large portion of the audience. To a lot of fans that remember 3MB, remember them as, the Job Squad. So maybe they would get a decent reaction if they had some kind of legit reunion on TV with a crowd, but maybe not. Maybe not in Corpus Christi. Maybe it would just depend on the city. And Infamous Chris with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, why is it WWE mandating employees to wear masks? Well, apparently they are now, and if you look in the crowd, most of the people now in the audience are wearing masks. Anybody who is not performing on the show is supposed to be wearing a mask at this point. At least that's what the reports are stating. When we came back from commercial break, we had a match between Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater, if you really want to call it a match. Heath took a couple of shots at Drew and then made the mistake of taking off his shirt in a fight. That brief moment, Drew took advantage, hit the Claymore, and pinned a not-so-game Heath Slater. After the match, Ziggler was very unhappy. He slapped Slater. Slater shoved Ziggler. Ziggler went after Slater, and then McIntyre ran back out to make the save. McIntyre helped up his buddy from 3MB, Heath Slater. The two of them hugged. They did the 3MB salute. And apparently this is it for Heath Slater unless WWE signs him to a new deal. As of today, Heath Slater was still going on his Twitter hyping up July 18th, which is the same day as Impact Wrestling's Slammiversary. So we'll see. I mean, this was very nice of WWE. If there's no intention on rehiring the guy, this was a nice thing for WWE to do, to give Heath Slater a nice send-off and give him some TV exposure before he's officially a free agent. Walter Cruz with an $8 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Walter. I do appreciate it. He says, Heath Slater might be on his way and follow the pattern. Go away, get muscular, come back, and become WWE champion. He's already looking muscular. He looked more jacked up than the last time I remember seeing him, which I think was on a February edition of Smackdown against Daniel Bryan. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I feel like that was his last TV appearance. It was right before the pandemic started, I believe. He's looking in great shape, so we'll see what happens with him. We had Bayley and Sasha Banks backstage being interviewed, but they did not want to do a backstage interview when they could just go out there and talk to the world. Asuka then appeared for a backstage interview and said that she is not alone on this edition of Monday Night Raw. We had Bayley and Sasha come to the ring, which is becoming a regular thing on all three shows now, it seems. Bayley said Raw can finally begin now that the role models have arrived. Asuka then came out. Bayley was wanting to know who Asuka's person is that's going to be representing her. And it was Asuka's tag team partner, Kairi Sane. There's been a lot of talk about Kairi Sane, what's going to happen with her. Is she leaving WWE, going back to Japan? There was a graphic with her in Asuka's corner for the main event, and then WWE published another graphic without her, and then the day of the show, Kairi was advertised again. So it was all over the place here. But Kairi's back, at least for now. And we had Kairi one-on-one with Sasha Banks in a match. And Kairi was actually on the verge of defeating Sasha when Bayley ran in, caused a disqualification. A huge fight broke out with everybody. And then Kairi got on the top rope, did her insane elbow onto both Bayley and Sasha. I like the editing WWE did here because they kept the camera focused on Kyrie, so you did not see Asuka, Bayley, and Sasha just standing out there waiting for Kyrie to do her jump so they could catch her. Good editing there by WWE with the camera angles. I did appreciate that. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Kyrie did not reach her full potential on Raw. I would agree on that. I mean, she's done fairly well, all things considered, but I think with that gimmick she had with the Pirate Princess, doing something like that, and she missed out on the big WrestleMania entrance, but cannot blame WWE on that one. You know, it would have been really cool for her to make the Pirate entrance in Tampa at the Buccaneers Stadium, but unfortunately it was not meant to be. But if she sticks around another year, we'll know it can't be next year because Mania's in LA, if that even happens. So she would have to stick around for, I think, another 2 years to get the Pirate entrance. We might not get it. I feel like the odds are probably against it. We found out that Alistair Black had been attacked backstage. A Rey Mysterio mask was put over his face. Seth Rollins and Murphy were there. Rollins said it was a damn shame what happened to Alistair Black. And backstage, we had the Viking Raiders with the Big Show. Viking Raiders wanted to show Big Show how they defeated the Street Profits in a bowling match. Big Show said normally he likes to have fun, but tonight they got to take things seriously. Randy Orton is not somebody to joke around with. Big Show had to chop some sense into them to get them to get out of that comedy persona and start taking things more seriously. We had Kevin Owens come out for the KO show. Kevin Owens back after taking a few weeks off to be with his family. Owens had Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, as his special guest, and knowing the history between them, he got rid of the chairs right away. Rollins came into the ring, and there was trash talking between the two of them. Rollins was asking Owens about his fractured ankle, which occurred at WrestleMania, and Owens had a gift for Rollins, and that was a KO Mania 4 t-shirt to remind Rollins that he got beat at WrestleMania. Fractured ankle or not, it was Owens that got his hand raised. Rollins said he doesn't give a damn about Owens, and he just wants to talk about Rey Mysterio. He challenged Rey Mysterio to a match at the horror show at Extreme Rules. And then Rollins went back to focusing on Kevin Owens, saying that maybe Owens needs to be with the Monday Night Messiah. And Owens, according to Rollins, likes a fight, but maybe Owens needs to start fighting for the greater good. This led to Rey Mysterio and Dominic coming out. Rey Mysterio accepted the challenge, and then Kevin Owens said since Alistair Black got attacked backstage, Owens would fight. Not with Seth Rollins, because he's never going to be on Rollins' side. He will team up with Rey Mysterio. And then there was a proposal that the winning team would get to pick the stipulation for the horror show at Extreme Rules. Rollins accepted these terms, and Murphy attacked Owens, leading us into a tag team match. I'm just going to say this. I did enjoy Raw, but I am getting tired of these interview/promo segments turns into a match after commercial break. We got this like 3 or 4 times on this show, and I'm a little tired of it. But like I said, I did enjoy Raw overall. we had this match here, and Rollins at one point started going after Dominic, trying to take out his eye. Mysterio got the hot tag, and then when Mysterio was cleaning house, we had Rollins grab Dominic, threaten Dominic. Alistair Black came out, and with all the chaos going on, Dominic blinded Murphy when the referee wasn't looking. Mysterio hit the 619 and then the big splash. 1, 2, 3. Good guys win. And then after the match, Mysterio announced that he has chosen the stipulation. It will be an eye for an eye match at the horror show at Extreme Rules. So yeah, don't know what this means, but I guess you win the match when you gouge somebody's eye. I could have sworn AEW already did this. I think they did when Jon Moxley was doing the injured eye storyline, and I think he took out, was it Santana or Ortiz? One of those guys. They had an eye for an eye match. So, yeah, AEW did it first. How about that? We had Bobby Lashley and MVP backstage doing an interview talking about Apollo Crews. And then they came to the ring, and there was a championship under this sheet. MVP revealed a brand new United States Championship. I thought it looked okay. I mean, it looked better in the more detailed photo of it than on television. There was a lot of detail put into the championship. But, I don't know, the champion and the big bold letters, it definitely comes off like the U.S. title version of the WWE and Universal title. But it's all right. I mean, I wasn't like hating it or wasn't super impressed with it either way. To me, it was just like, all right, another title, whatever. It's fine. It seemed like it got a very mixed reaction on social media. It seemed like people were very mixed about their thoughts on the title. Ken says he thought that the new U.S. title design was better. Curtis Butler says it's awful. And Sal Al says it's an okay design. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says, is the U.S. title design better than the WCW design? See, I think I like the WCW U.S. title design better, but that's just me. I tend to like the older designs, maybe because I'm getting old and I like the past. Who knows? TJS with a $2 super chat says, ironic that the mid titles look better than the world title. Well, I would agree that the IC title is probably the most interesting title design of the current WWE titles. I mean, with the world titles, like, you know, they're just a title with a WWE big logo on it. So it's like not much creativity. And I know some people would prefer each title had its own unique identity. So anyways, MVP got the title put around his waist by Bobby Lashley, and MVP's not the champion. He's challenging Apollo for the title, but Apollo was taken out of action on last week's show. We had Cedric the Entertainer and Ricochet come out, and there was another fight that broke out, and you guys know what this means. Every time I say it, it's like rinse, wash, repeat. Guys come out, promo, other guys come out, brawl happens, commercial break, they have a match. It's getting to be a little bit ridiculous. But anyways, we had a tag team match, and MVP was wrestling in his formal attire for this. Bobby Lashley speared. He pretty much caused Cedric to go into a complete spin. just spinned him in a complete flip. Lashley picked up the win here over Cedric and then put the full Nelson on Cedric after the match. Ricochet managed to get Cedric out of the ring. Tony H with a $2 super chat says, the U.S. title looks solid. Tag team titles should be next. How long have we had the penny titles or the penny? See, I hate to say it. I'm not even sure what the tag team titles look like right now. That's how little I pay attention. I think they're still the penny titles. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. That's how little I care. I mean, quite frankly, I just don't pay that much attention to it. But I think they're still the penny titles. I think we've had them for about a decade now. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Cedric and Ricochet are such jobbers, it is getting sad. Well, especially with Ricochet because he just had that program with Brock Lesnar back in February, and that seems like a lifetime ago. But there might be some hope for these guys, and I'll get to that here in a minute. Ric Flair was chatting it up with Andrade and Angel Garza backstage, and there's the whole storyline of Garza and Andrade not getting along. So Ric Flair was saying that it's a must-do mission. There's a 6-man tag team match. Garza, Andrade, and Randy Orton working together against the babyface team of the Big Show and the Viking Raiders. And Flair said that they gotta take care of business here. Randy Orton walked up and said that if Garza and Andrade screw up, he will not hesitate introducing them to the Legend Killer. Walter with another $5 super chat. Walter Cruz, thank you. I really do appreciate it. He says, Raw needs to get rid of the third hour. Then we can have less of these segments that leads to matches. Well, I mean, that's very true, but it ain't going to happen. I've been saying this for years, and just ain't going to happen. USA wants 3 hours, and WWE has to do what USA wants. But yes, with a 2-hour show, there would be less of this filler, no question. We had Asuka and Kairi Sane do a backstage interview, and the gist of it was that after Asuka defeats Bayley, they want to challenge Bayley and Sasha for the women's tag team titles. And then Kairi played their theme song on the recorder, which was very entertaining. All the more reason to keep Kairi around. I love the stuff with the recorder and her and Asuka. It would be a shame if Kairi left when she's been providing some of the more entertaining segments during the pandemic era of WWE. We had our 6-man match, which I talked about a minute ago. The PC trainees were doing a big show, which is something I do not think we would get from a regular crowd. I love the Big Show, but, you know, the fans, for the most part, they have not given him the props for the lengthy career that he's had. I feel like Big Show gets a bad rap. But yeah, the PC fans were doing it, and hey, maybe one day when we get a live crowd again, if Big Show's still active, that will catch on. Big Show. Big Show. Hamp Connor with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. He says, how many more champion versus champions will we have? I'm sure quite a few. I think that will not be going away. It's a nice, easy ploy to get TV ratings. So, you know, it is what it is. Anyways, back to the 6-man match. Randy Orton was not amused with Angel Garza during this match, and he literally shoved Garza into the barricade and grabbed him by the throat, started telling him he needs to get his head out of his ass. I really liked this. Randy Orton showing a lot of intensity. Randy Orton was great on this show, and I like him really trying to get Garza and Andrade on the same page. And I saw some people on Twitter say, could this be a new faction? Could this be Randy Orton's Legacy 2.0? I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one. Anyways, Randy Orton picked up the victory. He scored the RKO on Eric. And he attempted to RKO Big Show, but was unsuccessful. We had the Iconics backstage joking about Ruby Riot's ugly tattoos. Ruby was standing right there and said she cannot stand the sound of their voices, and she's not going to be focused on Liv Morgan for the moment. She is focused on the Iconics. And then we had another backstage segment with MVP. He was wanting to talk to Cedric, ask Cedric a question or two. He sees that Cedric has heart, but he wants to know, why is Cedric content on being Ricochet's sidekick? And MVP tried to further instigate by saying that Ricochet has a 365 documentary on the WWE Network, and Cedric has nothing. MVP said him and Lashley are in the hurting business, while Cedric Alexander is in the catering business. Ouch. Savage line of the night from MVP. Like I said earlier, maybe there's something to this. Maybe Cedric will be part of a faction with MVP. Shelton Benjamin, Cedric. Like, you could get these guys together and create a super faction in WWE. I'm all for it. Ken terminated by Google with a $2.30 super chat says, Orton told Garza to get your effing act together? Question mark. I'm not sure if he used the F word or not. If he did, they censored it. I'm sure if it was uncensored, I would have heard it for sure. But yeah, it was a really great promo. Well, not promo, but just a verbal exchange with Garza. Very well done. The legendary Mike B with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Mike B. Came very close to winning the No DQ Super Chat Championship on the last No DQ&A video. Make sure you guys keep checking it out if you haven't already. And if you are enjoying this video, please tell a friend, share a link to this video. Anything you can do to spread word of mouth, I very much appreciate. And Mike B says, buy Casey and Sassy some cat treats with this. Go check out Aaron's other YouTube channel to see some awesome cat videos. Well, thank you for plugging that, and you guys can head over to aaronrift.com to watch some of those cat videos that he's talking about. Hamp Kano with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. He says, with the rumors of AEW doing a 4 horsemen group, is WWE trying to do a 4 horsemen with Orton, Flair, Garza, and Andrade? Well, maybe not a horseman group, but could be a Legacy 2.0, or maybe a new evolution. I mean, I would be fine with that. I like the factions, and I like the four-person groups. I think WWE overdoes it with 3. Why not have a couple of four-person groups? You can have Orton with a group. You can have MVP with a group. But maybe not overdo it past that. But yeah, 2 groups. I'm cool with that. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, is Cedric the Michaels to Ricochet's Jannetty? That I do not think. I like Cedric, but I do not think that he would become this major superstar. Ricochet, I think, is more marketable. However, if Cedric went heel, maybe we could see some untapped potential from him. So I say give it a shot at least. Maybe turn Cedric heel and put him with MVP and see what he can do. But I think that's maybe a bit of a stretch what you said there. I think, quite frankly, I think they're both probably Jannetties, but Ricochet, I feel WWE really screwed up with him big time. Richard Wolf with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Richard. Says, the tag teams look like nickel belts or dime belts. I always thought of them as penny belts, but I mean, yeah, they look like coins. And they've always had some criticism over the years. People think that because of that, they look too tacky. I've seen other people compliment them, though. Not my favorite tag team titles, though. Like, for me, I like the old school 80s WWF tag team titles that the Hart Foundation had and all those other teams. Like, those were the belts that I liked. And, of course, that classic IC title, which was such a great design that WWE brought it back after it disappeared for a good decade or so. But yeah, if people want to know, my all-time favorite title belt design is that Intercontinental title belt design that started in the late 80s and lasted until the Attitude Era, and then it was brought back about a decade ago. I think it was it Ziggler or Cody Rhodes? It was one of them that brought the title belt design back, from what I recall. And I was sad to see it go, but at the same time, it's been around for so many years. At some point, you got to change things up a little bit. So I was okay with the IC title getting a makeover. Cat terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat says, Psycho, Jet Black, and Rift, how the hell did Ricochet get his own documentary on the network? That is like seeing Coco Beware getting his own documentary. Ouch, that's quite savage there. Thank you for the super chat, though. Well, he did face Brock Lesnar, and I'm sure Coco Beware had a match with the top heel in WWE like Macho King and got his ass kicked. But yeah, Coco never got a documentary. He did, however, get into the WWE Hall of Fame, so there's that. Ricochet, he might not be so lucky to get into the Hall of Fame. But at least he has his documentary. All right, back to Raw. We had R-Truth interrupt Ric Flair and Randy Orton backstage. And R-Truth started thinking that Ric Flair was Tozawa in disguise. The real Tozawa then started chasing after R-Truth. Tozawa wanted to know which direction R-Truth ran in, and Randy Orton gave Tozawa the wrong direction. That son of a bitch, Randy Orton. How could he do that? Now we got to have another week of R-Truth as champion. That, to me, makes Randy Orton the biggest heel in WWE. Jeremy Dorsett said it was Cody Rhodes that brought back the previous IC title design. So thank you for that, Jeremy. We had Ruby Riot versus Billie Kay. You guys know how I know Ruby Riot's a babyface? She's stupid. She's a dumb babyface because Peyton Royce got on the apron. Ruby swung at her like a moron. And then Billie Kay took advantage of the situation and defeated a not very much game Ruby Riot. The game is on 100 with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It says, poor Ruby not getting any wins, LOL. Well, hey, at least the Iconics are getting over. Ruby has a storyline, so I'm trying to look at this in a positive way, trying to look at the glass half full. You do have a Ruby Riot and Liv Morgan reunion storyline going on. That's pretty much all she has going for her right now. But hey, better than nothing, I suppose. We then had Sasha Banks and Bayley backstage in an interview, and Sasha accepted the challenge from Asuka for the tag team titles. Bayley was not too thrilled about this, but Sasha said no team can touch them, and Bayley was like, whatever. We then had our main event of the evening, Sasha Banks versus Bayley. Nikki Cross, who is part of Smackdown, was on commentary, and security was trying to escort her from the building, but the announcer said it was cool, so security let her stay. Nicky was very entertaining here on commentary, but then Bayley went to the outside of the ring and slapped the headset off of Nikki Cross. All hell broke loose. Security then finally escorted Nikki out of the building. The match continued. Bayley was dominating for most of this. She got on the headset, kicked back in the chair, but then Asuka came back again. This was pretty back and forth. Long match between these two. Asuka hit this spinning back fist, which knocked Bayley out of the ring. Bayley then made another comeback and then knocked down Kairi Sane, punched her on the outside of the ring, or shoved her, knocked her down. Kairi then got on the apron, and when the referee was distracted, Sasha took a shot at Asuka. Bayley got a near fall, and then all of a sudden, Nikki Cross returned. She started banging on the plexiglass, and Asuka managed to take advantage, get the Asuka lock on. Sasha tried to interfere, and Kairi came back in, speared Sasha. Bayley attempted to break out of the Asuka lock, but then Asuka countered into a pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Asuka defeated Bayley to end the show on a positive note for the good gals. And they get their tag team title match on next week's show. You had Nikki Cross cost Bayley this match, setting up that for the pay-per-view. So pretty good stuff here. Good main event, good angle to close the show. And like I said, overall good Raw. I could do without the constant guy comes out for a promo, other guy comes out, commercial, they have a match. But other than that, Raw was solid this week. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Ruby should form a new group, the Riot Job Squad. That would be the kiss of death. That would basically put her in EC3 territory if she does that. So anyways, letter grade for Raw. I am going to read TGS's super chat, buddy. I have not forgotten about it. I am going to give Raw a B-. It was better than last week. Overall, I did enjoy it. Pretty solid build-up for the pay-per-view. Kev Bog with a B-. Sal Ali with a B. Will with a B. Tic Tat Tat with a B-. Michael Wayne with a C+. Legendary Mike B with a B-. Jeremy with a B-. Gamers on 100 with a B-. Nathan Washington with a B+. Shaddy Snake with a C+. SN1281 with a D. Ouch. Ace and his Familia Vlogs with a B+. And Matt Helms with a B. And Infamous Chris with a B. Curtis Butler with a B. Darren G says, just turned into Raw. Should I watch the full show? You could watch a lot of the segments. I mean, I think it was a pretty solid show. I mean, it wasn't one of those Raws where I was just feeling awful the entire time. I felt pretty good watching it. I definitely watched the Heath Slater stuff, main event, Randy Orton stuff, MVP stuff. I mean, there was quite a few good segments on this show, I must say. Now, let's get to TJS. Thoughts on Black Snow and Chet Lemon, which is, for those of you that have no idea what that's a reference to, that was back in 2009 when the Main Event Mafia took over Impact, and you had Booker T as Black Snow and Kevin Nash as Chet Lemon doing commentary. It was pretty funny, but the best part of that show was Scott Steiner on ring announcing duty when he said, Samoa Joe hailing from Dunkin' Donuts, and talking about ODB being the craziest nastiest bitch he's ever known. Scott Steiner was great. That was a fun edition of Impact, I must say. Vince Russo did a good job with that. I got to give him credit for it. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, why doesn't WWE do Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair on Raw? Vince apparently gave up on Shayna Baszler. It sucks. Maybe we'll see Shayna appear for SummerSlam. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping it's just WWE wants to have her lay low until the SummerSlam build begins and you build up Asuka versus Shayna. But I have this feeling it's going to be Charlotte. Asuka versus Charlotte, and Shayna's just, the toy that Vince gave up on. He had his toy, played with it for a while, and now he's done. Probably the same thing applies to Bianca Belair, unfortunately. And DJW with a $5 super chat says, hey Aaron, why did you stop saying holla holla players whenever a promo turns into a tag team match like you used to? You make the catchphrase cool again. Hey, maybe I'll have to start doing it again now that you bring it up. Holla 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 players. We got a tag team match. The legendary Mike B with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mike B. I appreciate it. He says, congratulations to Adrian. Go getting the title at the last minute. He's talking about the Super Chat Championship for those of you that are not aware of it. And then he says, one of these days I will get back my title. Just for those of you that do not know, for No DQ&A video, I have a YouTube premiere, and the person who leaves the single biggest super chat gets the super chat title. That's how I decided to bring it back so it would not interrupt these live streams too much. So if you're interested, want to have some fun with it, tune in to the next No DQ&A video. I usually post a link before the video goes up, and follow No DQ on social media at NoDQ.com to get updates as to when these streams are coming up. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says, do you remember the Big Show Undertaker promo about the bikes and the desert? Also, the real horror show would be a 1-hour Ricochet promo. Damn. That was harsh, Psycho Jet Black, about Ricochet. I seem to remember that. If that was summer of 99, correct me if I'm wrong, right when Undertaker was recruiting Big Show and they were doing the tag team thing for a little bit, but then Undertaker got hurt and then missed 7 or 8 months and then came back as the American Badass. I think that's what you're referring to. Yeah, I seem to remember that now. I think it was on Smackdown. Undertaker cut this long-winded promo. Somehow I remember that. Ken Terminated by Google with a $3 super chat. Thank you for that, Ken. Says, get your title back from that jerk, Mike B. Maybe Mike B will do it on the next stream. Colin missed it because he got work. Damn him for actually going out and making some money. You got to be on call 24/7, Colin. Nah, I'm glad you're keeping yourself busy. And yeah, no Street Profits on this show, which people are going to speculate on what that means. 2 weeks in a row, and they've been pushed very strongly. All of a sudden they're not appearing and they're the tag team champions. DJW with a $5 super chat. Thank you, DJ. Much appreciated. Says, do you think Jon Moxley might drop the title next week if his wife doesn't get better? I do not think that Renee Young having COVID would have anything to do with AEW's booking decisions. And from what I've heard, she is doing better. So I think that theory goes out the window. The question is, do you strike the iron when it's hot in regards to Brian Cage? Do you try and make a new star? I did poll people on No DQ, and more people seem to be against the idea of him winning the title, but man, I feel like he's really hot right now. I wish that he would have been booked stronger in terms of having more wins besides just winning the Battle Royal and then getting a title match. But yeah, he's pretty hot right now, and if he loses, he's going to cool off. I mean, look at Lance Archer. Lance cooled off a lot after taking that loss to Cody. So AEW's got to be careful. And Brody Lee, too. Like, when these big monsters come in, they have this mystique about them. And then when they lose, it kind of cools them off. And they lose that luster. Johnny Boy with a $5 super chat. I like to call the Brian Cage thing, and like, it hasn't happened yet with Brian Cage, but if it does happen, and what's happened with Brody Lee, and what happened with a lot of guys in WWE and AEW, I call it the Ryback syndrome, where a company books themselves into a corner. You have this monster who gets really hot, but then you book them in a match where it's a no-win situation for either participant, and you book yourself into a corner and you basically cool off your monster who's red hot. So yeah, will Brian Cage be a victim of the Ryback syndrome? That remains to be seen. And Johnny Boy sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you guys for the generous super chats tonight. I really do appreciate it. He says, what is a gimmick you wish lasted a bit longer? Mine are Hollywood Rock and vegan Daniel Bryan. Well, I agree on both of those. Here's one that you did not mention, which was shorter than both of those. 2005 heel Shawn Michaels. That was so friggin' good when he came out there in Montreal and teased Bret Hart coming out. And when he mocked Hulk Hogan, he had the whole Hogan get up. Man, that heel Shawn Michaels was fantastic. I was so sad when after SummerSlam, he went back to being a babyface. That 1 month of heel Shawn was brilliant. So that's my pick right there. But Hollywood Rock, vegan Daniel Bryan definitely could have had longer runs, in my opinion. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, Ryback had better promos than Ricochet. Interesting. I'm not sure if I would agree with that, actually. I mean, Ryback barely said anything. He just went out there and said, feed me more. I'm hungry. Which, I mean, it worked for his character, but maybe he was better than Ricochet. Oofman Entertainment. Thank you for that, Oofman. My favorite right-winged Facebook lovable guy. Says, Jericho interrupted Taker during said promo. I believe it was on a Raw. Crowd was dead when Undertaker talked. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah. You're right about that. Now that you bring it up, I thought it was Smackdown, but maybe it was a Raw. Yeah, I just remember from that promo, Undertaker was talking for a very long time. He was just going on and on and on. This long-winded story about something with a snake and the bikes. I remember it now. And yeah, it was a bit overdrawn and just went on for too long. And let me see here. DJW with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, DJ. Says, I agree they're booking them in high-profile matches way too soon. Have them beat Darby Allin and Matt Hardy and other high-level mid-cards first. Yes, for sure. Because you put Brian Cage in there, he wins the match, but now if he loses, then he's cooled off. Like, build him up over 6 months and see if he catches on, and let him build some momentum. Like, he does have momentum, but you did this so quickly that now, like, what do you do? Do you go with him as champion? I mean, people are going to say it's too soon. But if he loses, then people will say, well, you're not capitalizing on a guy when he's hot. So it's a tough spot for AEW. They did kind of book themselves into a corner, unfortunately. Maybe they didn't think that Brian Cage would be a guy that people were potentially seeing as a guy that could be the world champion. But, I mean, Taz, I got to give it to Taz. Taz has really been the difference maker as far as I'm concerned. He's the guy that has basically been Paul Heyman. He's Paul Heyman. Just like with Heyman and Lesnar, Taz is doing the work here and getting Brian Cage over as a legitimate force in AEW. Anyways, guys, I think I got everybody's super chats here. I do apologize if I missed any of them. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and your super chats and everything. Make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. And I'll be back Wednesday night, AEW and NXT, part 2 of Fyter Fest and Great American Bash. Spoilers are up on NoDQ.com if you want to be spoiled, but I will still be recapping both shows. Stay tuned for that. Take care, everyone. Be positive. Stay safe. And I will see you guys next time.